Hi, welcome to my views and news. Well, it seems that two armed groups in Ethiopia are carrying out deliberate attacks against civilians, OLA and Fano fighters. In two different zones, these attacks have been carried out. Civilians have been abducted. Are these attacks connected? That one side abducts people, then the other side carries out counter attack. Secondly, BRICS summit in South Africa ongoing. Eritrean president arrived there yesterday, and PM Abiy today arrived in Johannesburg to attend the summit. Details for you. Firstly, viewers, Oromia Amhara border, where it seems that two groups are operating, carrying out attacks, separate attacks in separate zones to abduct civilians from the other ethnic group. Amharas are being abducted by OLA fighters, and Fano fighters are abducting Oromos. It seems. You know that I did two videos about Fano's entry into Oromia from Amhara region. Fano has carried out two attacks on Mendida on Oromia Amhara border. Their fighting erupted between Fano fighters and Oromia security forces. In another Wareda, Fano fighters entered and they abducted Oromos there. Abichuna Gania is this other place in Oromia, North Shore zone of the Oromia region. Fano fighters, Shoa Fano fighters moved from North Shore zone of the Amhara region and they entered North Shore zone of the Oromia region. In Abichuna, Guinea, around 6 Oromos were abducted. Some say around 12, but we've been able to confirm 6 abductions. Ordinary Oromos, not members of any armed group, not members of Ethiopian National Defense Force, not members of OLA. Ordinary Oromo civilians who were found there, they were abducted by Fano fighters, they were brought to North Shore zone of the Amhara region. Whereabouts of these Oromos unknown. Then yesterday, attack from Oromia's territory on Amhara Oromia border. Dera Wareda. Dera is in North Shore zone of the Oromia region. Both Amharas, Oromos live there. Amharas live in large numbers in border area. Dera, Amhara border area. And OLA fighters have long been accused of carrying out attacks against Amharas in Dera. According to latest reports, yesterday, several Amharas were abducted by attackers who came from the Oromia territory. Dera is part of Oromia too. And around 10 were abducted. Again, civilians, not members of any armed group. Abductees are Amharas. Abductors, most say, are OLA fighters. In the first case, abductees were Oromos, abductors were Amhara Fano fighters. In yesterday's attack, abductees are Amharas, abductors allegedly OLA fighters. OLA denies involvement in all these attacks in Dera, North Shore zone of the Oromia region. But OLA has presence here, and several kidnapping, attacks for ransom happened on Oromia Amhara border. Amharas who were on their way to Addis Ababa to Oromia from Amhara, when they entered Oromia territory, they were abducted. It happened a few days ago. Several incidents. Latest one happened a few days ago when some vehicle owners were abducted and then ransom had to be paid. So it seems that the attack by Fano fighters in Abiy Oromia, and attack by OLA fighters in Dera, Oromia Amhara border, are linked. Civilians are suffering. Civilians unarmed who have nothing to do with the fight against Fano fighters or operation against OLA. They are not part of the military operation, part of any armed activities. They are being abducted. Civilians already suffering in both zones. Where OLA carries out attacks, there too civilians, they are required by OLA to support OLA. If they start supporting Oromia forces, Fano, if they start supporting Oromia forces, obviously OLA takes them. In Amhara, we are saying that those civilians, those government officials who support the military, who support the government, they are being assassinated by Fano fighters. These new attacks in border areas are alarming, because if these attacks intensify, we'll see more ethnic tensions. War or fighting in Amhara, government says it's law and order operation to restore law and order. Though groups in Amhara are trying to paint this operation as a genocide of Amharas being committed by Oromos. This narrative is not selling a lot, but if these attacks increase in border areas, you'll see that communities could be involved, and we could see more ethnic tensions. And by the way, for years, kidnapping for ransom has been happening on Oromia Amhara border. Oromia government is helpless, or it is supporting these groups which are operating on Amhara Oromia border, on Oromia side of the territory. These groups mainly target those Amharas who enter Oromia from Amhara region. They are abducted, then ransom is demanded, ransom is paid then. Even a cement factory workers, they were abducted, big cement factory, but ransom had to be paid. Now Fano fighters are doing the same too. Abduction of Amharas has been ongoing for some time. Abduction of Oromos by Fano fighters is a new development. Fano fighters now retaliating, they're entering Oromia territory and abducting Oromos. Secondly, viewers, PM Abiy has arrived in South Africa, Johannesburg, where BRICS summit ongoing. More than 20 countries have applied to be member of BRICS. Applications are going to be considered. Ethiopia is one of these countries. Eritrea wants to be part of BRICS too. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has invited several African leaders, including PM Abiy, Isaias Afwerki of Eritrea, from South Sudan, Salva Kiir invited too. So we could see several African leaders there at the summit. Isaias Afwerki arrived yesterday. PM Abiy landed in Johannesburg today. Will Ethiopian application to be part of BRICS be accepted? We'll see. When the two leaders, Isaias Afwerki and PM Abiy, attended Russia-Africa summit a few days ago, we saw that Isaias Afwerki outshined PM Abiy. PM Abiy was nowhere to be seen, and Isaias Afwerki stole the show, you can say. Though he was more religious than the Pope, more loyal than the king. I mean, he spoke more about need for establishment of a new world order in Russia, but Putin did not speak that much on this issue. But Isaias Afwerki there was perhaps one of the most visible African leader. Abiy was missing. He was missing from the final ceremony too. Let's see what happens in South Africa. Will Isaias Afwerki once again steal the show while calling for establishment of a new world order? He is very eager to see a new world order. Maybe Russia, China are not very eager, but he is very eager. PM Abiy is in a difficult position. He is hoping to get financial aid, loans from IMF, World Bank. He cannot take very strong position against West and US. BRICS is obviously a Russian-Chinese platform which is trying to counter Western American platforms. Let's see how the two leaders are received and how they are seen, how they speak there in South Africa. We'll try to bring some videos first. What's the clip showing PM Abiy's arrival in Johannesburg to attend BRICS summit? Thanks for watching.